That's the starting grid for the pre-final, with the two South Africans on the front row, with another one to watch, Marc Cronje, in 8th. Inside the top 10 were two strongest Masters drivers so far, Ben Savage of Australia and Rob Kellogg from the host nation. The start of the pre-final over 25 laps, with the finishing order of this race determining the starting order for the all-important final. Reigning champion Claudio Piazzamusso leapt into the lead, but poleman Michael Stephen had fluffed his start and was swamped into the first few corners. Noel Brennan from Ireland had moved into second position, followed by Frenchman Sebastian Correnta. But while the leaders made their way through the first few corners relatively unscathed, the same could not be said for some of the midfield runners. The battle up front had developed into a three-way affair between Brennan, Piazzamusso and Correnta, but the man on the move was South African Marc Cronje, already up into 4th position from 8th on the grid. He was closing fast as the three leaders chopped and changed positions, slowing each other down. Cronje gradually worked his way up to the front, now up to 2nd position behind Brennan, while Piazzamusso had dropped down to 5th. It was becoming clear that the winner would be one of these top 6, unless something drastic happened. A brilliant move down the inside of Brennan saw Cronje taking the lead. The South African had won 2 of his 3 preliminary races in emphatic fashion, and he was clearly on a mission. In the top 6 at this point were Cronje, Brennan, Correnta, Sami Taskinen of Finland, Piazzamusso and a recovering Michael Stephen of South Africa, with a partisan crowd loving every minute of it. Piazzamusso, however, did his chances no good when he tangled with Australian Ben Savage, the resultant off dropping him outside the top 10. Cronje had opened up a commanding lead, with Sebastian Correnta consolidating his 2nd position ahead of Noel Brennan and Sami Taskinen. A good victory, placing the rapid, regular saloon car racer in pole position for the final. Behind the top 4, Michael Stephen had recovered to 5th ahead of Ian Parsons of the UK, while Australian Daryl Smith beat Rob Kellogg in the battle for the Masters supremacy.
Mark, what a fantastic drive.
Excellent. It was a great drive from our side. The other guys have got some pace, so it's a little bit worrying going into the final. I'm just going to have to find something out the bag and just put my head down and go. I tried to do that earlier in the race, but I could feel them behind me.
There was one moment that you had us very scared.
Yeah, unfortunately, you know, you give it your all, and I was lucky to come off.
So to the final, where a new champion will be crowned. 30 laps of the challenging 1 kilometre figure-of-8 circuit, and Marc Cronje kept his cool head, emerging in the lead from pole position. Chasing him was Sami Taskinen into 2nd from 4th, and Noel Brennan. But almost inevitably, somewhere on the first lap, there's always a midfield shunt, and this was no exception. New Zealander Carl Wilson was lucky to get away with that. Cronje, Taskinen and Brennan began to break away, but an engine problem caused a premature end to his efforts for Stefan Janssen of Sweden. Up front, a fierce battle had developed, with Taskinen having gone into the lead and Parsons getting past Brennan into 3rd. Cronje would have none of it though, and retook the lead at his favourite spot. Taskinen had lost momentum and was coming under attack from Ian Parsons. This was the kind of racing that the crowd had come to see. With Cronje controlling the pace from the front, there was plenty of movement behind him, with Taskinen, Parsons, Noel Brennan and Sebastian Correnta providing spectacular action. Correnta, dropped from 2nd on the grid, was gradually working his way up the order with a spirited drive. Taking advantage of the fierce battles behind him, Cronje had pulled a lead over Parsons, who was coming under pressure from Correnta. In the battle for 4th, Sami Taskinen was being chased by Brennan, Michael Stephen and a recovering Claudio Piazzamusso. Further down the order, many minor battles kept the crowds entertained.